this is a fucking weird one. You all know about a little movie called Space Jam, movie made back in the early 90s with your man, Michael Jordan. So there is going to be a new movie released by Warner Brothers, Space Jam 2, tentatively titled Legends, starring LeBron James, the current GOAT. I guess they're gonna do new GOAT movies, right? So we all know about Space Jam 2. It's been in the zeitgeist for a while, but there has been a rumor, and a pretty big rumor. And I want to preface all of this by saying spoiler as hell. Because if I was a kid, if I was just a moviegoer, and I didn't know about this, I wouldn't want to know about it. I would want to know about it as soon as I walk in the theater and be surprised by it. Because this is, to me, really exciting. According to rumors, from MovieWeb.com, Space Jam 2 has leaked images to reveal, spoiler, if you don't want to know anything about Space Jam 2, that the Joker, Pennywise, and Jim Carrey's The Mask will be appearing alongside LeBron James and the Looney Tunes in Space Jam 2. Now, I'm gonna pull up the images that were leaked. And have you seen the images, Drew? Yeah, I'm showing them to you, right? Yeah. Now, I don't know if this is really Jim Carrey. It doesn't really look like him, but it might be. Now,
they're talking about, like, isn't there supposed to be a female-led Mask coming out soon or something?
I honestly haven't heard anything about that. All I've heard about Mask is that they want to do a TV show. I've heard that.
Got it.
And I don't know about a female-centric one. I know that The Mask is a property that still makes money, like the on-demand version of it still makes money. But if you look at...
Really?
So I'm looking at these photos, right? Now, these were leaked, right? No one knows if these are real. But the reports of Jim Carrey being the Mask in Space Jam 2 came out about a month ago. This image was leaked about 2 weeks ago. So if you're gonna put 2 and 2 together in the rumor mill, I think we're gonna get a movie with all these clowns, with all these Warner Brother clowns coming together and fighting the Monstars. I don't know if the Monstars are going to be in this movie. I don't know. It's the Monstars.
It might be a clown, like some kind of clown team.
Yeah, some kind of straight up clown team. If you look at these images, I mean, that is Pennywise. That looks like the Joker, and that is definitely the Mask. I don't know if it's Jim Carrey. You're looking at it too, right? Does it look? I mean, it might be.
It's even hard to tell if that. It's even hard to tell if that's even Jared Leto or not. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's Jared Leto.
I know everybody, everyone said it's not Jared Leto.
Jared Leto's Joker.
It looks similar.
It does. It looks similar to. It looks like Jared Leto's Joker. Right. It does look like Jared Leto's.
As much as it looks like Jim Carrey's Mask.
Right. And that Pennywise does, it looks like the current Pennywise.
Right.
He's one of the, who plays the Pennywise? He's one of the Hemsworth brothers, isn't he?
Oh, is it?
I think it is. It's one of the Hemsworths. I think it's one of the Hemsworths. Because there's 3 of them. It looks like, this just looks nuts, right? And if you think about, like, what else are we doing here? Like, what are there any other characters we're gonna bring into this fall? Like, what other Warner Brother characters are there? I mean,
it says Bill Skarsgård.
Bill Skarsgård. So it's a Skarsgård kid. So so I'm getting my beautiful blonde European families mixed up here. There's the Hemsworth and the Skarsgårds.
That is something that can happen. It's fine.
yeah, for sure. I mean, this is just nuts, and this is like getting like my like little child self that used to like look through all of these like movie website rumor mill websites getting going. I'm like, what? This is nuts. This is really gonna happen. I'm like, we're knowing this real super early too. I'm interested to see what they do with this, because if you remember the Mask, it was basically bringing all of the cartoonish stuff into the real world. Like, it wasn't just like it wasn't like a Space Jam or a Who Framed Roger Rabbit where it was Looney Tunes in the world. No, they brought all of these like gags and stuff into the real world, and it was really fun. You remember the original Mask? That's still a fun movie.
Oh yeah,
it's still a fun movie. Also, the best Cameron Diaz.
Yes,
that was when I fell in love. Oh my God, Cameron Diaz in that movie. Whew. It's still a good movie. Still holds up too. I am interested in seeing what they do with these guys. Right, like it's fucking.
Cameron Diaz has been out there for a long time. You and I were just talking about Any Given Sunday, and we were just like, she's ageless. She just keeps like showing up in like every movie from every decade that we talk about.
Absolutely. Yes. Cameron Diaz, 10 out of 10, would recommend. Absolutely. I'm interested to see what gags that they come up with in this movie. If this is happening, we have The Mask, which has, otherworldly powers to bring the cartoonish world into the real world. You got Pennywise, which his character bends reality and can control people. And then you've got the Looney Tunes, and you got LeBron James. I mean, this is just shaping up to be just a whack-tastic fantasy film, right? It's gonna be like a Looney Tunes movie / like a horror movie.
It's giving them some backstory. I mean, like, where were the Monstars from? Like, were they from something?
They were just from some old planet that had a planet that had an old rundown amusement park that nobody was going to anymore. And they were jealous of the Looney Tunes because everybody was watching them.
At least we know the origins of all these different characters so far.
For sure. Yeah, we know the origins of this. I don't know how they're going to bring him in. Bill Murray's reportedly coming back too.
Well, and it does look like, it does look in these pictures that like the Joker and Pennywise are in two things, right?
Yeah.
But like, it also looks to me that like Jim Carrey, or who we think is the Mask, is he looks to be the referee.
Oh, yeah.
He's in a referee.
I thought that was maybe like a suit of some kind, but you're right. He looks like he's dressed up like a ref, dude.
So he could be a ref. It makes.
A ref. Okay.
I would watch it as, if the Mask was ref, and that's kind of funny, like I like it.
Especially if they got Jim Carrey. If Jim Carrey's in this movie, dude.
And an all-clown team in Warner Brothers sounds good.
Oh, yeah. I hope they bring back the Animaniacs. I don't know where this movie's going. I'm excited for it. If this is what it is, I'm excited for that first trailer, because I bet that first trailer, nobody knows this is going to go down, right? Nobody knows that there's possibility of bringing the Mask and Pennywise and Joker in this. When that first trailer drops, it's gonna be nuts. We were talking about movies being remakes, right?
Yeah.
How do you make sure this movie makes money? Let's bring in the Mask, the Joker, and Pennywise into this pitch. I don't know how well the Mask did. I'd imagine it did pretty well. I know Pennywise was like the most highest grossing like R-rated movie, and I know obviously the Joker, Batman, make sure this is the studio being like, how do we make sure this is a sure thing? How do we make sure that people come watch this movie, adults and children, right? Bring
it might be one of those things that, like, I mean, the family and kids movie thing, to be straight to streaming platform, we've already seen that like Mulan made money at $20 a pop.
It was so you had to pay for Disney plus
and the movie,
and you had to pay to rent.
And people, but like, what was the kids movie that came out that was like a true kids movie?
I literally, it was a Pixar movie.
Yeah, like something like that. Like people were paying out the wazoo to watch it multiple times.
Yeah, for sure. It was called Soul. That was released as well.
Yeah,
it's called Soul. Yeah, this is kind of a perfect way to end this too, because this kind of brings home everything we talked about today, right? It's a movie property being released. It's a sequel. It's a rehash. It's a movie that I believe is in production during during the pandemic, right? Also, it brings in horror elements, which is interesting because like Jordan Peele is a horror movie director, and it's interesting the way like I've seen the movie industry do this recently, and it makes a lot of sense. They bring in, I think Warner Brothers does this a lot too. They only pick new directors to come in to take over the big movie projects that are from horror. I don't know why. I have an idea. I believe it's because horror is literally the only way to make an original movie and make sure it makes money, because horror movies just make money. And
I was about to say, and the horror very similarly, like they are the only films that are low budget,
original,
with very little. But they also very little budget and make profits, because I've always been like, we've talked about this multiple times too. I've always been like kind of just impressed by the horror genre, because if we just produced a movie that, like resembled a horror film, and then it came out and it was somewhat good, no matter what, people are going to go see the horror genre movie that's playing in the movie theaters.
Absolutely.
That's like the classic date night. To see a rom-com, I think more people would go see a horror film than a rom-com if it came out during Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's just cliche. And so I think it makes more money on the rental and like movie theater side than anything.
Right. And then like horror movies in general have their own streaming service called I think it's Shudder or Schroeder. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so horror, and like I've seen, I specifically Warner Brothers, but I think a lot of other movie studios do this too, where they pick out directors who have made a name in horror, like Jason Wynn, who directed the first Saw and made the Insidious movies and produced a lot of horror. They were like, we gave you a lot of money to make these horror movies. You made us a lot of money, really good original movies. Come make Aquaman. Please make Aquaman. Great movie. And I think that's what's happening in the movie studios, where the original filmmakers coming in to create big budget movies are horror directors because of that point. Because horror movies, unlike all of these other big budget movies or other movies being released right now, are the ones that are allowed to be original, take chances. They usually have a crap budget. They're really small. So you have a filmmaker who is able to do a lot with a little, right? It's just an interesting dynamic that's kind of coming to fruition, that horror is just becoming the avenue for filmmakers to really come in. And then for Space Jam to bring in the horror characters. Why? Because they know they're a sure thing. It's a sequel. Let's bring in these characters that are a sure thing, so to elevate this movie. It's an interesting dichotomy that's kind of happening in the industry, and honestly, kind of a cheat code for you like new movie industry people. And honestly, like, I know for a fact that there is a movie that was bought by, I think, Netflix or Amazon that was made for like $4,000, and it was a guys who like made it with like, I think it was like a Canon 6D or something.
Shit.
Right? Like you can make horror movie, like fucking Paranormal Activity horror movie. You can make that movie right now with the camera that we're both using. We can literally, like the cameras that we are both using right now to stream this on the internet. We can use these cameras to make a horror movie and sell it. As long as it's scary and it has jump scares, you can sell that.
I mean, like the Saw, I just looked it up. Saw movie was on a $1.2 million budget and made $103 million worldwide.
plus spawned a franchise that has made countless millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars.
And there has been the highest grossing film, or the highest budgeted film, was $20 million. The second highest film was 11. They've produced like 7 films, all maxed out at a $10 million budget. The only one that was 20 million was Saw 3D, and that was because of all the technology it took to make it 3D.
Yeah, you need massive hard drives and giant cameras.
That's the only reason why.
Yeah.
And they've all made hundreds of millions of dollars each one. I think the worst one was like Saw 6 or something. It was the. I mean, that's it.
They're just, scary movies are fun movies to watch if they're, because, the script can be whatever, the actors can be whatever. As long as the scares work, that's all you really need. I'm excited for Space Jam 2. I've completely bought into the machine. If the machine has made this movie, I'm gonna watch it. Right? I'm gonna watch it. If it's a fucking Looney Tunes movie with a bunch of characters that I've seen and have scared the shit out of me, I'm gonna watch it.
I know. If the Animaniacs come out of the water tower, I'm gonna be very excited.
Very.
But I think that's a wrap, man. I think we did it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think this is it, my man. Let's bring it home.